Hello everyone, welcome to another skating video in Berlin. A little bit of an update. We had a very long winter. It was super cold and I couldn't skate at all during the winter. But I did learn ice skating, more on that a little bit later. There was like one little place in Berlin where you could like skate indoors. I wouldn't say the name because actually I didn't like it so much. I only went there once and I didn't return, and now the weather is getting a little bit better and it's time to go out and skate again, which I'm very excited about. So what I want to do in this video is just to give a little bit of an update and maybe show you also the things that I bought, some upgrades and some other gadgets for skating. So it's going to be like a hauling video. By the way, none of those products are sponsored by anybody. I bought everything with my own pocket and I give you my honest opinion about it. If I don't like something, I will tell you. So first thing are socks. I bought some good skating socks that are wicking. So those are the professional FR skating socks, which I use not so often actually, because I also bought the white ones that are now in the washing machine. And I use the white ones all the time. And the wicking of the socks actually helps a lot. One issue that I had is that my socks used to get super wet, and it actually used to irritate my skin to the point where I had rashes and blooms and some maybe some injuries also. Anyway, since I got the wicking socks, it's so much better. So it's really cheap. You can buy them online or at a skating shop, and I really recommend you to get some like good wicking socks. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think it's like distributes the moisture from your feet like around the socks, so there is more volume for the wetness to be wicked around your foot and not to be isolated in two specific spots. I think this is how I feel. Another thing I bought is those like MyFit Footies. I actually saw Asha from Skate Fresh recommend that in one of her videos, and I thought, hey, let's try it. And it took me some time to get used to it, because what it does is kind of like wraps around your ankle, and it makes your foot a little bit wider. So when your foot is inside the skate, it's kind of here, the footie, and it's kind of like locking your ankle to this spot. So it's very good to maintain this position here. But what I found it's a little bit hard to get used to is bending the knees, because I don't know why it's difficult for me to put the weight of my body on the ball of the foot when I'm using the footies. It's not impossible, of course I can do it. It's just something to get used to. But I use it almost every time that I go to skate, and I recommend it because having this part locked feels more secured to me. I feel like I have a little bit more control over my skates, which is always nice. I also got those new wrist guards. The wrist guards I had were good. I didn't really have a reason to buy new ones. I just want to try something new, and I saw some recommendations about that. It's the K2 wrist guards, and they're very stiff on the back and on the front. Yeah, those are good wrist guards. The thing that are important for me when choosing wrist guards is to have it like really stiff, both like on the back side and on the front side, because my biggest nightmare is to have like this part broken, and I heard this is like one of the most common injuries that people have while skating. So I will try to avoid it as much as possible. To be honest with you, I think maybe I chose like a smaller size. Maybe I should have aimed for a higher size. And I'm thinking about buying even more expensive ones, like ones that are super stiff, you know, because that's really my biggest fear. What else? I didn't show you. I bought another heel brake. So now I have a heel brake on both skates. And I know you are such a great skater, right? You don't need that. You don't need the heel brake. You are like an amazing skater. And this is for such a newbie person like myself. I know it, I get it. Please write in the comment how good of a skater you are that you don't need the heel brake. But for me, it was like really important to have heel brake on both skates, because I found out that I really enjoy actually using the heel brake. It gives me a lot of security, and it also a fantastic way to practice like a really strong and comfortable scissor. And I think having a strong, comfortable scissor, it's like the basic for so much in skating. So the issues that I had before having only one heel brake on the right foot is that this kind of strength and confidence were associated with only like one side of my body. And then I start to have a strong leg and a weak leg. It bothers me a lot because I started going skating on the street, and every time I had to take a left turn, I felt super insecure. And also when you have heel brake, you can brake while turning. So what I used to do if I want to turn left, I actually used to do it like more than one circle to the right, you know, and braking while doing that, because I was so uncomfortable and so insecure about my weak leg. Since I got the heel brake and I start using it already a few times, I feel so much more secure. And also right now I'm practicing a lot my weak leg. I do a lot of like heel brakes with my weak leg, with my left leg, but I feel like it's essential because right now I'm kind of stuck in my progression because of my weak leg. And I think I will talk a little bit more about that in my next video. Okay, another thing that is really cool that I bought recently is those things. I have two of those, one for each skate, and they go on the wheels. So let me show you. It's a little bit tricky with the heel brake, but it's not really big of a deal. Just do it like this, and like that, it covers the wheel. So you might think for yourself, like, why would you buy something like that? And the way I like to carry my skates around is with just holding them like that. And when you do this, the skates kind of rub against your clothes a lot. And especially this time of the year, after skating, my wheels are getting so dusty and so dirty that if I haven't had that, my clothes would have gotten like so dirty. And when I have this, I feel like I can even put them like on my lap and like carrying like that, and I will not get dirty. And so that's a huge quality of life upgrade. And if you're skeptical about getting some of those, like, it depends really how you like to carry your skates around. For me, it was like a life-changing purchase. It's so simple, it's so cheap, but it's really worth it. Okay, so next I bought this skate tool, and I bought it after I broke one axle. So in this FR skate, they use this rockerable frame, so you can rocker the front and the rear skates. And the issue with that is that a lot of axles here are coming with screws, and screws tends to wear off. And with my skate tool, the skate tool itself start to wear down here. It start to be more circular and less hexagonal. And it happened that like this axle here, the screw side of it got completely wore down to the point where I couldn't even screw it out. And it was a big issue. I had to take my skates outside and use a power tool to break down the axle and then remove it. And I figured that the skate tool that I had, the one that came with the skate, maybe it made from a material that is not ideal for the screws. It's okay for the axles themselves, because with the axles you can really put the tool inside the axle and get a much tighter grip. With the screws, you have only a few millimeters here where you can actually have a grip on it. So it's much more sensitive, and I needed something a little bit stronger. And I feel like this one, where also the beads can go out, so I can change to whatever size I need. It feels much better. I feel like I don't damage my axle so much right now. So what I usually do is I'm using this new tool to just loosen up a little bit of the screws, and then I use the other skate tool that I have, the cheaper one, to do the rest of the work. But for the first and last really tight job, I will use this one. It's also nice to hold in the hand, and it has also this part that I can like do other things in my skates if I needed to on the fly. So yeah, that's a recommended thing to have. It's not so expensive also. Next, I got insoles. So I got those like famous insoles, the Game Changer footprint. Forgive me, I don't remember the exact name, but it's like the famous one that you can heat mold it. So I put it in the oven and then in my skates, and then I let it rest over my foot, and it now has the shape of my specific fit. So this insole is great. I love it a lot. At the beginning, maybe it took me a little bit of time to get used to, but not too much time. And now I feel like I have so much more of a tighter fit around my foot. What it does, it's shaped to your foot and it gives support over the arch of the foot. But what it also does, it's kind of making the skate a little bit smaller in size because it's inside there and it has some volume to it. And I think I like it a lot because as I grow as a skater and get more comfortable skating, I feel like I want a tighter and tighter fit around my foot. Together with the footie, it's an amazing combination. I really feel secure and locked. And the support over the arch of the foot, I feel very comfortable with it. I'm not professional enough to say anything about the medical benefits of that or whether or not I can skate for longer with or without it. Everything I heard about it online is kind of true. I really enjoy skating with it, and I would never think about taking it out of my skates. So the next thing are some reflectors. I also bought those one that goes over your ankle here, because as I told you before, I started going on the street to skate, and one thing that I'm really afraid of are car drivers. Maybe they will not see me if I'm on the bicycle lane or if I wear dark clothes. Anyway, so I think reflectors are very helpful. And also I bought some colored wheels. So those are light up wheels. I have a few of them. Yes. So those are like pink ones and white ones. And those are like blue ones. Let me see if I can find the red one. Yeah, and this is a red one. That's also I bought for safety because I figured that more visibility, especially if I'm start skating to the darkness, to like the evening hours, those really catch people's attention. Like you cannot ignore it. And that's very important for me when I go on the street and skate, because I want the car drivers and everybody else on the street to be aware that I'm there, because the last thing I want is like an accident or something like that. So it's also fun, of course, when you have like pink wheels, people look at you and it feels very playful, but it's also increased my sense of safetyness. I also bought this little light that goes on the helmet, also to increase the safety. One issue I have with it is that like, if I put it on this mode without the blinking, after a few seconds it will start to dim down. I think maybe it's because it's getting like hot from the battery and then the electrical resistance is higher, so there is less energy for the light, but I don't know, I didn't check. Yeah, it's a very cheap one to put on the helmet. I guess maybe in the future when I'm going to upgrade my helmet, I will choose one that has built-in lights in it. Yeah, that's another great thing that I bought. So those are ice blades to put here instead of the wheels. And this is how I learned to ice skate. Because I didn't want to rent the ones in the rink. They're very cheap and so many people wore them before me. I wouldn't feel comfortable. And I saw this product And I thought that could be perfect because I also don't want to buy a new set of skates. Because let's be honest, I'm not going to ice skate like more than once a month or 2 times a month. So there is no need for me to invest so much in another pair of skates. And I already have a nice pair of skates. So just switching the wheels to the ice blade was the ideal solution for me. And I'm very happy I did that because I already feel so comfortable on my skates. So why should I get used to another pair of skates? Anyway, this is also from FR Skates. And I bought it in peak season, which wasn't smart because it was a higher price. I would recommend you maybe to buy it off season if you're interested in ice skating. It's really fun. It's something to do in winter when it's impossible to skate on wheels. It's very different ice skating. I wish I could make a whole video about just like the differences between ice skating and rollerblading. I don't have the capacity. So the last thing I wanted to show you that I bought are some axles. And I bought so many axles, you know, because after my axle broke, I decided, man, like those things can break, and I better just buy like a bunch of axles right now for the future. Instead of getting stuck. And I also wanted to replace all of my rockable axles, the ones with the screws inside of them, because I feel like I wore them down and they are like on the brink of getting broken down, and I didn't want that to happen. So yeah, that's the last thing I want to show you that I bought. And about filming and about the future of this channel.
You serious?
As you know, I live in Berlin, and in Germany I find it's really difficult to go out on the street with a camera. The people here, the locals, they are extremely cautious about their privacy. And of course I wouldn't show anybody's like close-up face in any of my videos, or I wouldn't do anything offensive with my filmmaking, but it's the attitude that I get sometimes from people here that if I'm holding a camera, it's like I'm doing something wrong. It's almost like I'm a little bit of a criminal, and they targeting me and they start approaching me and asking questions about why do I have a camera and what do I do. There was one extreme incident that happened to me a few years ago that I went with that camera to a big square here in Berlin called Alexanderplatz. It's a very central place. There are like many tourists with taking pictures with their phones or whatever, but I was there with my camera. And then the police came to me and they hauled me and they start questioning me and taking my IDs, and they hauled me for almost 30 minutes only because I had a camera. And then they told me that I was suspected of being a terrorist because I had a camera, and they thought maybe I'm sending footage to Al Qaeda or something. And it was completely like ridiculous, you know. And it happens to me also recently because I'm a filmmaker and I go out and I do my work as a filmmaker also for myself and for other people's movies. And every time I go out with a camera, people approach me, the police approach me, the Ordnungsamt approach me, and it feels like this is such unwelcoming environment, unwelcoming city and culture and country to be a filmmaker and to make videos outside. And I get it, like I also wouldn't want my face to be in someone else's video, but I wouldn't do that to other people too, you know. And I think like I would, of course I would care about other people's privacy and I would not violate something like that. And there is also something called like panoramic freedom here in Germany. It means that if you take a long shot, let's say of the Brandenburg Gate where all the tourists goes, you're allowed to publish it even though there are some people inside the picture, because the subject of your image is the gate. It's not the people. And if people are having a picnic in the park and you are shooting a movie and they're like in the corner of the frame having a picnic, they cannot claim for copyrights for that, because that's what the park is about. They are becoming almost like part of the landscape, you know, part of the cityscape. It's not the subject of the video. And I feel like people here don't understand that. They don't care about that. And even if they're like kilometers away, miles away from me, and they just see that I'm with a camera, they will come to me and start questioning me and even asking me to delete the footage, even though I didn't even take an image of them. Maybe there are like tiny pixels in the background. I can rant about this topic endlessly. As you can see, it really affects my career as a filmmaker here. But it also affects my motivation to continue making videos here on YouTube about skating, because I really enjoy skating and I think I have a lot to share. But you know, I tested one 360 camera, and the first thing that happened to me, I just went out of the house, put the 360 camera on a selfie stick and start recording for test. After 5 seconds, a person came to me and asked me, "It's a camera, please turn it off." Just a random person. It's really demotivating. And I think also this is why you don't see a lot of skating videos coming from Berlin. And I think maybe it's also why there is not so much of a skating community here. Anyway, but talking about the skating community is an entire different topic. So update about the future. I'm planning to do a few more videos, so stay tuned. I will try to incorporate as much skating videos as possible, not only me here in this room talking to the camera, because that's boring and you want to see me skate, and I want to show you how I skate and my progression. And about my progression, I feel like last year was amazing. From not knowing anything about skating, I finished the beginner course by Skate Fresh and I started the intermediate course. And I already about to finish the intermediate course, and it's only the start of the second season for me skating, so I'm skating for only like 1 year and I almost finished the intermediate course. So I feel like I'm learning really fast and I'm really excited about the future and what else I could learn in skating. Yesterday I went to a big park and I saw someone skating so elegantly, and he did like this kind of figure skating, like people say wizard skating, but I don't like this word because he did more like figure skating, like with a lot of super elegant moves and not only the tricks that the wizards do. And I feel like I would really love to graduate in a few years to that level. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.